Apple Gift Card is a practical gift that unlocks a world of entertainment and fun. You can send it via email or give a physical card to your loved ones. Your friends and family can spend it on their favorite Apple services, including Apple subscriptions. Apple Gift Card can be used to buy all things Apple: products, accessories, apps, games, movies, TV shows, iCloud Plus, and more. Visit apple.com for details and to send Apple Gift Cards to your friends and family this holiday season.
Alright, what's up guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss Show. And in today's episode, I want to talk on emotional pain and physical pain. Now, if there's anybody in this world that thinks they're one and the same, in some ways it can be, but it's not. It's not. You know, at the end of the day, like, if it led down to like a 10-year depression or a 10-hour paper cut pain, I think I'd rather take that 10-hour paper cut pain. Like, I don't think nobody would wish for themselves to be depressed or to, you don't see, my thing is, and to use probably the best example I can think of that TV show Jackass. Like, sorry for my explicit language, but that was literally the name of the show. But think of that TV show. When have they ever, I feel like that they've had their emotional moments on that show, but the show wasn't based off of like emotional pain. No, these guys was out here getting kicked in their privates by kids, getting stuff slingshot at them. They were going through some of the most craziest physical pain, like, scenes throughout that show. So at the end of the day, would you rather be on that show or a TV show where somebody is using all of the things that saddens you, that upsets you, makes you angry, makes you, like, get outside of your zone of just being happy? Which show would you rather be on? Because I'm telling you, I would not mind saying, hi, my name is Tyler, and welcome to another episode of, I ain't gonna say, because, I don't know how it overall goes with, like, explicit, like, languages and all that stuff, but I'm like, anyways, they did have that that word on Tom and Jerry, so I just wouldn't want my this episode to get taken down because of too much cussing and things. I try to keep it clean, but one time word, all right? But anyways, but yeah, I'm like, I would rather, be co-starring with Steve-O and everybody else rather than sitting in a room with the therapist telling them about my problems. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that to myself. So anyways, because when I think back, I was like, I remember last year I was like, bruh, like, and because I was in a mood. I was in a little bit of a, down spiral of my life and things. Like, I was just going straight up downhill, and I would have given anything to just get that feeling out of my, like, heart and out of my brain and just move on and be a much more, happier person. But I couldn't. I had to sit there and deal with that stuff. And it's like, what, with a paper cut? My thing is, like, I've never broken any bones, and God forbid if I ever do break any bones. But that, paper cuts, bruises, you can think of it like, there's people out, and there's physical pain out there that will cause emotional pain. I feel like that if I can, say something that is, messed up about physical pain, that at some point in times it can cause emotional pain. So I will not take that away from anybody that's, that has dealt with that type of stuff, because it's like when people, it's like, for an example, if it's like a rapper talking about them getting shot, all the time, that stuff is traumatizing. That's something that they think about. That's something that haunts them. So it's like, you can't be happy if you having to look around your shoulders every single day of your life. Like, nobody can live a happy life like that. I guess if you heavily protected or something, like, you're in a Tekashi 6ix9ine situation. But anyways, but yeah, it's like, at the same time though, it has its, its differences. I feel like people need to understand that, and there shouldn't, at the end of the day, like, who wins the fight between both pains? Like, which ones is worse? Emotional. In my opinion, emotional. Because I'm like, I think back on some of the physical pains that I've had to deal with, and yeah, I've dealt with some physical pains before, and I'm like, bruh, headaches, freaking soreness. What other crazy things? Like I've like there's been mornings where I've been like, you know, crazy sick, right? My whole body is reacting to this sickness. I remember it was a few years ago where I had woke up and I was like, and I was just about ready to get I was going to get ready for work, but I laid there for a second cuz I was like, "Hey, yo, my body shouldn't be feeling like this. Like what's going on right now? Like this isn't normal, you know, like I'm confused on what's happening." So anyways, I couldn't even. I think I had called either my manager or my supervisor. I called or text somebody, and I told them, I'm like, yeah, not today. I was like, not today. I think that was like the one time where I had to say that I was like sick and sick badly, and was like, nah, I can't. I can't make it in today. I'm like, not today. And I think back on that, I remember I was still recording videos. I was still doing things, still up like and about and stuff. Like, yeah, I was sick. But thinking back on that, and then thinking back on last year where I was having like some things that was really getting to my head, yeah, I would rather deal with that day for a whole like year. That one day where I was sick, I'd rather deal with that for a whole year. At least I know I can work around it. At least it was just like it didn't take me out of this world. So I'm like, at times, you know, when you be dealing with emotional pain, you don't really know where that stuff is gonna lead you and things. So yeah, it's like I don't want anybody for a second to think that emotional pain it ain't nothing. You know, like when they tell you like, oh, suck it up, and because I'm like, I'm not gonna sit down and I guess if it's like some stuff that is getting to them emotionally, like some physical pain, then of course I'll sit down and talk with them. But if a person's coming up to me crying about, oh, I got a paper cut on my finger, I don't know what I'm going to do, I'm so done with life, I'm like them like overly dramatic people, get out of my face. Get out of my face. I'm like, that ain't nothing. I'm like, you deal with some real pain and you see overall how you'll be feeling at the end of the day. But I'm telling you right now, get out of my face with that. I ain't trying to hear that. Because I'm like, nah, it's you, no. I'm like, don't come at me like that. So, but anyways, and then if there's some, you ain't gonna hear, but I'm, overall the point that I was trying to make is that you ain't gonna, there ain't gonna be a person that comes up to you, talking about how depressed they are because they got a paper cut. If so, then that's when you tell a person to suck it up. You know, be a soldier. Like, I'm not gonna like give you no advice on that. Go get a band-aid and you slap that on your finger. Don't have anything touch it if it's a bad paper cut, and that's it. That's all I'm gonna tell you. But there's been times when people they have came to me with some of like probably some of the most darkest moments of their lives, right? And they're telling me about it. And I'm sitting there listening and I'm like, dang, you know, like that is pretty bad. Like, nah, man, like that is bad, and I am sorry. I'm sorry that you have to deal with that. And I try my hardest to give them the best advice that I possibly can give them. And there's at times where I'm just like, you know, at times I feel like, man, I wish I can do more. You know, I wish I could do something to just make them much more happier and things. And so I don't know if I ever done that for anybody. If I have, then that, you know, it makes me happy in a way. But overall, I'm like, man, you know, when they're down and out, it's like you're down and out. You know, like it's a tough. You know, at times like a person's like emotional pain can be extremely tough on them. There's people that have like taken themselves out of this world because of it. You know, is that situation not too long ago with that rapper where I guess his girlfriend either cheated on him, something had went down with him and his girlfriend, and he just, you know, he was in a tough spot. Like overall, at the end of the day, that man was in a tough spot, and the fact that he ended his life over this girl, it's like, man, you know, it's times like that where I wish I can like sit down and talk with the person and let them know like, hey, life is gonna get hard. You know, you're going to come across people that don't care for you. You're going to come across people that don't love you like the way that you love them. You're going to come across some of the most, you know, just people that's really going to like bring you down. Like ground zero, there is like you're going to think for a second that there's no way out of it. There is. Because even though like emotional and physical pain is different, they do share some similarities. You know, stuff heals. Pain heals. Pain don't last forever. Pain never has lasted forever. You can ask anybody in this world, has pain lasted forever for you? You know, because nobody doesn't know. You don't know what your life is going to be like in the future. So that's why I'm like, you think back, because I can't really speak on that artist, but The Weeknd. When you go and hear some of his, when you hear his music from back in the day to his music now, that man, you can tell like a part of him has changed. Either his creativity or, something about him has changed. Because that was like, I know that was like one of the songs that man came out with was False Alarm. And I know how everybody was like getting on him, talking about how, oh, I hate this new style of your music, or I don't like this song. This song was, it wasn't good. I remember people was really getting on him about that song. And I remember listening to that song and then watching the video. One of my favorite songs of The Weeknd's. And it's like when listening to his music back in the day versus his music now, like when you hear his song like Blinding Lights, when you see this man performing at the Super Bowl show, do you think he would have had a Super Bowl performance if he was performing any of his other music back in the day? No. That man got a Super Bowl performance because he's doing his music, he's doing the music that he's doing now. So something about that man has changed. And that's one thing that I can, and you know what? The thing is, he still can have some pain in his heart. That's one thing for sure. And that's one thing that I'm not going to take away. And that's one thing I'm not going to say is that, oh, this man is pain free. I don't know that he's pain free. I don't talk to him on a regular basis. But I guess I can guess that he feels better than how he did like years ago. Because it's like you think back on what his song Belong to the World. What are some other songs? Like it just seemed like that he changed. He got like to really just experience life, and I think that's like one of the things. It's like that helps a person so much is when you can change, when life does get better for you. That helps out. That of course is gonna help out anybody. So that's why I'm like, just you got to look forward to the not the end point but the future. Like, do not ever look at the end point of your life, because I'm like, no, because it's you think that your end point is tonight, you might think that it's tomorrow, you might think that it's any other day, but it's like, no, when that day comes, then that day will come. But do not be the person to fast forward it and make it come here faster. Like, you shouldn't. My thing is, look, I know people deal with some hard, situations, whether it's a family death, a heartbreak, friends, a job, careers. Like, you're going to be dealing with the worst of the worst with all of that stuff. And I can tell you right now that I've dealt with the worst of the worst of all that stuff. I've had some family disputes. I've had some friend disputes. I've had situations where I'm like, try to get like a either a relationship started or just overall try to talk with a girl. Nothing happens. Down and out over all of that stuff. My job stressed me out to the max, to the point where I couldn't even focus on my career. So that felt like one and the same. So I'm saying, like, all of those things are gonna stress you out. And that's like one of the movies that I take a lot of motivation from is the Pursuit of Happiness. That's one of that's, even though I always say that I like Will Smith when he's doing comedy related stuff, that movie is like, that's a movie where I'm like, I can watch that movie any day of the week, doesn't matter. I'm gonna watch that movie and just be happy at the fact that the man that he was playing as dealt with all of that stuff, dealt with losing his wife, dealt with overall, or his wife leaving him. Like, I know when I say losing his wife, it was like she passed, but she didn't. It was like she left him. But his wife leaving him, losing I think did he have a job? I think he was selling them like machine things. I don't know if he had a job at the time, but anyways, but if that happened, then that happened. What other things? And it's like homeless. And then it's like trying to take care of his kid at the same time. It's stuff like that where it's like, dang, it's really messed up. It's really messed up that people got to deal with that stuff. But that man put in work. And he got that internship at that like I think it was a stockbroker. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it was stockbreaking job. I feel like you don't call it stockbreaking, but it's like a stockbroker. Whatever. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. But anyways, He got that internship. They sat him down in that office, and when they told him that he had that job, that was like, you like, as a kid when I watched that movie, I didn't really like know what that feeling felt like when you're just so happy you just start crying. But at the same time, it's like as I get older, and that's something that I want to experience when I watch that movie and see like somebody else experience that, because they've been in the toughest of toughest situations. When I see somebody else, I felt that movie and I was like, that was like a part of me. I felt like that was because it was in a previous episode where I was like, that spark of happiness. Watching that movie, I always get that. I always get that spark of happiness where I'm like, he did it, and it's so good that he did it, and I'm like, man, I'm happy for that man. Like that's like the one time where I am just happy and stuff. And then it's like, then also just seeing like other, situations in life, and seeing when people, they're experiencing the happiest days of their lives and things, to see that makes me happy, so it's that's the thing where it's like, you gotta like know that your happiness at some point in time will come. And I know if people ask me like, has mine came to me yet? No, it hasn't. I was like, I've just like I said the other day, I experienced a bad day. It was actually that day where I was recovering from that second vaccine shot. There were some things that went down that day. And overall, I was like, I overall handled it a lot better, because I've dealt with stuff like that before, and it's broken me down to my core, to the point where I've, just been laid out crying and not really knowing where my life is going to lead me. Because, you think that you think that there's something in this world that can make you happy, but it's like, I feel like your happiness will approach you naturally. Like whether it's your career, whether it's your personal life, whatever it is, it will like happen naturally. You can't force it to happen. So it's like, that's like something that I'm like really trying to teach myself. That's something that I'm really trying to follow by. Because like, happiness ain't something that you could just take. It's something that has to come to you. So it's like, you think for a second that you could just approach something and just take your happiness, it ain't gonna be legit. It's not gonna be legit. I can tell you that right now, and it will never ever be legit. So you gotta just let that stuff just happen naturally, and just, learn patience. Definitely learn patience, and just tell yourself that, hey, eventually, at some point in time in my life, I will be happy. And to even say that for myself, and I know at some point in time in my life, to manifest that stuff, to put it out there in the existence of this world, to make sure of it, that it happens. And if it doesn't, hey, I lived a life where I can at least motivate people, tell people things, and I'm like, if I go my whole life not being happy, oh well. I'm like, at least I was able to motivate people to find happiness, So it's like, yeah, you gotta go out and explore a little bit. That's definitely one thing that you gotta do for sure, is that you're gonna have to go out and explore a little bit to find your happiness. But I'm telling you right now, you will find your happiness. There's not going to be a point in time in your life where you're just like, you're old and elderly and you like, I've never been happy before. You will find your happiness. You just got to go out there and explore and look for it and stuff. So, but anyways, I will talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for, this is a serious episode, so I ain't going to do no promos and stuff. But thank you guys for watching and or listening. Stay tuned for the next episode, and peace.